Chapter 121, Godly Skill. The clock hit midnight. Lu Hao sat there like a log of wood in front of his computer. He didn't move. He didn't speak. Lord Grimm's message hung there staring at him. How is he going to break my record? This question kept playing over and over again in Lu Hao's head. He tossed and turned, but even so, he was still unable to come up with an answer. Meanwhile, at Happy Internet Cafe, right when the clock hit midnight, Yi Shu called Huang Xiaoshan over. First, come with me for a run. I'll show you how the strategy works. Hurrying, Huang Xiaoshan was extremely bored. Outside of Boneyard were Lord Grimm, Cleansing Mist, Soft Mist, Steam Bun Invasion, and Huang Xiaoshan's level 27 Blade Master, Flowing Tree. Use this sword for now. Yi Shu traded with Flowing Tree and gave him the vampiric lightsaber that Blue River had given him yesterday. Trash, Huang Xiaoshan muttered as he received the level 25 orange equipment. In the eyes of a top-tier god in the pro scene like him, orange weapons were worthless, let alone a level 25 one. Of course, it would be trash. Stop chattering so much. Hurry up and join the party. Yi Shu sent over an invite. Flowing Tree joined the party. Head out, Yi Shu declared. Lord Grimm entered the dungeon, while Flowing Tree followed behind. The other three stared blankly. They hadn't yet reacted to this Flowing Tree joining the party. They were still waiting for Hateful Sword to appear. We have a new player. This run is mostly to let this new player understood the strategy. After the 5 players entered together, Yi Shu said. What about Hateful Sword? Steam Bun Invasion had the spirit of loyalty. He cared a lot about his good friend, who sent him quite a few arena points. I sent him a message, why didn't he reply? He has something on his mind, so he can't come, Yi Shu said. Really, he has no prospects for the future, Steam Bun Invasion disdained. Let's start. Let me see your new strategy, Huang Xiaoshan said, making everyone who heard know that he was very familiar with Yi Shu. Who is he? Su Mucheng asked. Xiaoshan, Yi Shu said. F***ck, don't reveal my identity, Huang Xiaoshan panicked. Who are you yelling at? Who recognizes you? Yi Shu only told Su Mucheng. He was sure that Tang Ru and Steam Bun Invasion didn't know who he was. Sure enough, Tang Ru only dully said, oh? Your friend. Yeah, Yi Shu replied. Don't reveal my identity? I like secrets. Are you a Scorpio? Steam Bun Invasion said. Pretty close, Yi Shu said. Shameful. I'm a Leo, Huang Xiaoshan said. Steam Bun Invasion immediately singing, if you're born at the end of July, you're a Leo, if you're born at the beginning of August, you're a Leo. F***ck, Huang Xiaoshan yelled. Steam Bun Invasion still continued, when we met, if it was an accident, when you left, why couldn't I let tilde go, in the end, he asked, right? What's right? Huang Xiaoshan was sucked in. Nice singing, Cleansing Mist applauded. Steam Bun Invasion was overjoyed, I'll sing another 2 verses for everyone. Enough, Steam Bun. I need to explain the dungeon. You can sing for us again later when there's time, Yi Shu said. Okay, Steam Bun Invasion could only agree with difficulty. Watch me, Yi Shu began controlling Lord Grimm. He gave a demonstration just like how he did in the very beginning. Huang Xiaoshan deserved to be called a famed blabbermouth in the pro scene. Following along with Yi Shu's playing, he began chattering, whoa, nice pathing. Shadow clone technique? Falling flower palm. D** Minnesota, what class are you? Unspecialized? What are you doing? Whoa, how'd your weapon transform? It did transform, right? Did it transform? Whoa, did you guys see that? His weapon transformed back. You're so noisy, Su Mucheng yelled. Of course, Huang Xiaoshan had already guessed that this Cleansing Mist was Su Mucheng. He laughed out loud and then whispered to Cleansing Mist, you played really well tonight. Even though you guys lost, it wasn't your fault. It was all on that idiot Lu Hao. Whoa, there's a crack here, Huang Xiaoshan said while watching Lord Grimm send the 4 monsters into the crack in the stone wall. He immediately shifted his viewpoint and began commentating like a TV anchor. What are you trying to do here? Huang Xiaoshan asked. The three skeletons layer on top of each other when they die, so the zombie won't be able to come out, Yishu said. Really? Huang Shaoshan said. His blade master Flowing Tree rushed forward. While running, his sword flashed out and a sword draw accurately cut the outermost skeleton. Following this, he didn't use any skills, just normal attacks, stab, slash, scrape, chop, cut. But these few normal attacks beautifully flowed together to create a melodic harmony. Even if Tang Ru didn't have insight into anything else, she still had some towards mechanical skill. After a short while, she discovered that this player's playing was quite smooth and skilled. Every attack was extremely quick and accurate like a precise machine. This player is amazing. Tang Ru's soft mist walked over to cleansing mist. He is, Su Mucheng said. I'm coming too. It looked like steamed bun invasion couldn't see it. With a loud shout, he rushed up to help. After a short moment, the first skeleton died. Yishu said that the skeletons had to overlap and naturally, Huang Shaoshan understood what to do. Coordinating together, they killed the second and third monsters. The three piles of skeleton bones piled on top of each other. Huang Shaoshan looked at the zombie and sure enough, it was trapped inside blindly scratching. Wow, it really isn't able to come out? You're really amazing, so there's such a method. Like this, we should be able to save around 10 seconds. Yup, Yishu said. How many of these can be done in this dungeon? 9, Yishu said. 9, a minute and a half. That can't be right. Right now, the current record is much faster than just this. What else is there? Huang Shaoshan asked. This was a pro-god's ability to judge. From the time, he could already determine that just relying on this wasn't enough to set such a record even by a pro team. The second boss can be trapped too, Yishu said. That can be trapped too? How do you do it? Hurry up, hurry up. Let me see, Huang Shaoshan said, while letting his flowing tree rush forward. After running for a few steps, he stopped. He turned around on the spot for 2 full circles and then asked, how do we do this part? Watch me, Yishu didn't laugh at him. As a top-tier god, he could calculate the approximate clear time for Boneyard, but the details were a bit blurry. When Yishu was playing in the beginner village dungeons, he was also going through them using guides. After demonstrating the strategy along the way, they gradually reached the second boss. Tang Ru took note of the time. Even though they were teaching while clearing, their speed was still so quick. When the time came to officially set the record, chasing down those 20 seconds wasn't a problem at all. However, the second boss was still going to be very troublesome. So here, we'll be fighting like this, Yishu was at that stone wall explaining while moving and jumping around. Huang Shaoshan's flowing tree looked around left and right and also tried jumping around. In the end, he replied, you're right. It can only be done this way. Soft mist, you pull, Yishu instructed. I pull. If I pull, then I won't be able to rush back in time. I don't have shadow clone technique, Tang Ru said. You don't need to rush back. You just have to send the boss over, that's all. There's a different strategy this time, Yishu laughed. What strategy? Tang Ru asked. I'll record it and then show you when the time comes, Yishu said. If Soft Mist pulled the monster, she wouldn't have enough time to rush back to her position, so she wouldn't be able to see the whole picture. Okay. Tang Ru replied and then didn't say anything further. She ran over to pull Zombie Bailey. She knocked it into the sky and then blasted it over. Steamed Bun Invasion was next up. He played quite well and gave the midair Zombie Bailey a knee attack in the back. Next was Su Mucheng. An anti-tank missile helped push Zombie Bailey farther. This pitiful boss directly flew over. Huang Shaoshan's flowing tree was already in place. Right when Zombie Bailey was about to land on the ground, a sword light flashed out. The angle and timing were absolutely perfect. The flying Zombie Bailey was slashed and then redirected. It suddenly stopped for a short time in midair. Flowing Tree had already stepped forward to meet it and used an upward slash to lift Zombie Bailey into the air. Over there, Yishu's Lord Grimm had already jumped onto the stone wall and hit the mid-air zombie Bailey in front of him. The myriad manifestation umbrella swooshed out and a chain of bullets flew out. It was unexpectedly the launcher skill barbecue in mid-air. Lord Grimm had already begun to fall, but under Yishu's quick movements, the barbecue bullets all hit the necessary position. Zombie Bailey rolled about in the air until it finally rolled into the crack in the stone wall. Beautiful, Huang Shaoshan yelled, you deserve to be called the father of delivery gun. You're still the best with that skill. I don't even think Zhou Zikai could do that mid-air delivery gun. That guy only knows how to be handsome. Who would actually let him shoot you to high heavens in actual combat? Oh, it's not bad. After Lord Grimm landed, Yishu looked up and confirmed that Zombie Bailey was stuck up there and unable to climb out. This setup made sure that they would succeed on the first try. If this was a normal delivery gun, there truly wasn't enough of an angle to complete it. However, when Lord Grimm jumped up in this way, the character would reach a certain height, making enough room to use delivery gun. However, this angle could only be made with a very short hop. The timing had to be accurately grasped in order to deliver Zombie Bailey into the crack. Su Mucheng wasn't quite skilled enough to do this. Only Yishu could do it. As for Huang Shaoshan's flowing tree, his role was also extremely important. A normal upward cut had no way of lifting Zombie Bailey to Yishu's desired position. That was why Sword Draw had to stop Zombie Bailey from flying and then use an upward slash to send Zombie Bailey up. In order to send it into the desired position, Sword Draw's timing and the following uppercut had to be executed accurately. Fortunately, such timing wasn't difficult for Huang Shaoshan. The harder task was still on Yishu's instant mid-air delivery gun. That was a true godly skill. Seeing Lord Grimm and flowing tree return, Tang Ru said in amazement, "Done?" "Done," Yishu said. "How did you do it?" "I'll show you later. Let's keep going for now," Yishu said. The following parts were normal. Who knew how many times faster Huang Shaoshan picked things up than Tang Ru and Steamed Bun Invasion? He only needed a few random instructions and then he would know what to do. The only annoying part was that this guy really did talk too much. The teacher lectured, but the student talked even more than the teacher. Was such a situation normal? Chapter 122, Lu Hao the Helper. After this run of Boneyard finished, Huang Shaoshan took a look at Excellent Dynasty's record and then immediately said with certainty, "Yeah, we should be able to improve the record by around 30 seconds if we use this strategy." However, for their record, they had to have used this strategy to set it. "Wasn't this an original strategy by you? How did they get it?" Huang Shaoshan said. Huang Shaoshan really was a keen-witted guy. In the Glory Pro scene, he was famous for his astonishing decision-making and ability to take advantage of openings. He was amazing at interrupts and a paragon opportunist. Taking the final opportunity was something he loved to do. This was extremely obvious in the team competition. He might appear weak, like he was invisible on the field, or might make you feel like his condition was extremely bad. But once an opening appeared, he would immediately seize the opportunity to kill you. Cold-blooded and ruthless, characteristics of a true killer. If you only looked at his style, you would think he was a cold and cruel character. But Huang Shaoshan's acting was extremely poor. This was because he loved to talk. When he battled, it might seem like he wasn't there. However, his extremely quick hand speed and his love for the mic always made him shine like a star in the chat box. Commentating on Huang Shaoshan was always the most relaxing for the TV hosts. If they ran out of things to say, then they just had to read what was being typed in the chat box. Who knew how many analysts and experts pointed out that if he could fix his habit of spending so much time and energy on typing, then he'd be even more terrifying. But this person would never change. Just for him, the Alliance created a special competition rule. In the team competition, dead players were prohibited from sending out messages. Dead players could no longer play, so players like him could concentrate on typing out messages. When rule came out to avoid that, the entire Alliance cheered. At this moment, Huang Shaoshan felt that Excellent Dynasty's record was extremely irregular. Players like Tang Ru and Steamed Bun Invasion, who didn't have any perception, couldn't tell this. Even the pro-level Su Mucheng hadn't noticed it. Now that she heard Huang Shaoshan bring it up, she also felt that something wasn't right. You're right, how could that be? That hateful sword is Lu Hao, Yishu said. Su Mucheng stared blankly. What's hateful sword? Huang Shaoshan asked. Who's Lu Hao? Steamed Bun Invasion asked. Soft Mist had hid to the side. She didn't come over to join in on the conversation. Tang Ru saw that Cleansing Mist and Yishu weren't ordinary friends. And this newcomer Flowing Tree seemed to be the same. She didn't really understand the things they talked about. Tang Ru also didn't know whether it was convenient for her to listen, so she politely stepped out. Hateful Sword learned our strategy from here. Later, he went to help Excellent Dynasty set the record. Yishu first explained it to Steamed Bun Invasion. Whoa, he's really studious, Steamed Bun Invasion gasped in praise. After 3 seconds, he put 2 and 2 together. Minnesota, that guy was a spy. Everyone was speechless. I'm going to scold him, Steamed Bun Invasion declared. Stay low, only private message him, Yishu said. Oh, okay, Steamed Bun Invasion had wanted to type it out on the World Channel. But hearing God's commands, he changed his plans and sent the online Hateful Sword a pile of messages. He used every type of hateful word he could think of. Only then did Yishu give Huang Shaoshan an explanation. Lu Hao opened up a low-level account. He's been following along with us these past few days. You figured it out a long time ago? Su Mucheng asked. Yup, Yishu said. Then, why do you keep bringing him? Su Mucheng asked. Pro-level player. How could I reject such a player? Yishu said. How terrible, Huang Shaoshan said. You dragged him along to dungeon, so his condition would be all messed up. Did you see today's match? That guy looked like an idiot. It looked to me like he saw the team competition as boneyard. Sister Su, did you guys hold a meeting to criticize him? I didn't drag him. He was the one actively followed along. I just let him do what he wanted, Yishu said. And then this punk deliberately held back when you guys were setting the record and then went all out with his team. You really do have a lot of confidence. How were you so confident that you'd be able to break their record? Huang Shaoshan said. We have you, no? How did you know? Huang Shaoshan stopped mid-sentence. Ha ha, the alliance had already set it up half a year ago. How could I not know you were coming here today? Yishu said. Minnesota, you actually calculated that I'd come here so long ago, Huang Shaoshan said. Actually, whether or not you came wasn't the important point. It's not like you can't play if you're not here, Yishu said. But, Su Mucheng hesitated. In this dungeon, Shaoshan and Lu Hao are around the same. Even if you two can coordinate to use delivery gun to send Zombie Bailey over, there's only so much time that can save. It was originally around the same, but after Lu Hao helped us set the record, things changed, Yishu said. What changed? We have an extra vampiric lightsaber, Yishu said. F***CK, so this was why I was so important. Huang Shaoshan's cheeks streamed with tears. They had originally looked for him to fully use that orange weapon's power. An orange weapon meant that their damage output would increase. Adding that in over the course of the dungeon, the effects were obvious. Plus now that they could do a mid-air delivery gun for that Zombie Bailey part, they'd have to be cursed to not break the record. I pity Lu Hao. I don't want to help you anymore. Right when Huang Shaoshan said this, he suddenly received a guild invite. Huang Shaoshan saw that it was Blue Brook Guild and jumped in surprise. Of course he knew that this was the guild that their club backed. How did he suddenly get a message from them? Was his identity exposed? But after looking at it, he saw that it was unexpectedly from Lord Grimm. See, look. I'm actually helping you guys by setting the record. If I didn't look for you, who else would I look for? Yishu said. Is my identity exposed? Of course not. Yishu asked Blue River for the ability to temporarily invite members to the guild in preparation for pulling Huang Shaoshan's Flowing Tree in. Okay, we're going to officially start now. Everyone concentrate, Yishu announced. I thought I said I wasn't going to help you guys, Huang Shaoshan asked Su Mucheng. Really? I didn't hear it. You must have imagined it, Su Mucheng said. F***CK, you too, Huang Shaoshan was helpless. We're officially starting. Let's try to get it on our first try. Yi Shu gathered everyone and then entered the dungeon. They officially started. Even though Huang Shaoshan was constantly complaining, his performance was flawless. After they completed a third of the dungeon, Yi Shu couldn't bear it any longer. Steamed bun, didn't you want to sing? Please sing. Really? Okay then. Everyone, I'm going to be singing a song about astrological signs, Steamed Bun Invasion said and then immediately began singing. All of a sudden, the dungeon was filled with sounds of chattering, singing, and the cries of undead monsters. It became much more lively than in the beginning. Does it have to be like this? The two girls were almost unable to bear it any longer. If I'm dying, you're all coming with me, Yi Shu dully said. Extremely noisy, yet flawless play. Huang Shaoshan and Steamed Bun Invasion could be considered extraordinary in this area. As a result, they wholeheartedly played without being distracted. They were so good that when they got to Zombie Bailey, with one of them singing and one of them talking, they were able to successfully send Zombie Bailey up into the crack on their first try. In the last third of the dungeon, the situation stayed the same. And when the final boss fell, the two girls immediately got up. One yelled, "I'm going to get water," the other yelled, "I'm going to use the restroom," and then disappeared in a flash. They were even faster than the system announcement. System announcement, congratulations to Blue Brook Guild's players, Lord Grimm, Cleansing Mist, Soft Mist, Steamed Bun Invasion, and Flowing Tree for breaking the Boneyard Dungeon record, time, 16:24:67. They beat the record by 32 seconds. Huang Shaoshan's prediction was correct. Excellent Dynasty's record was already extremely close to the limit. To be able to beat it by 30 seconds wasn't easy. 32 seconds. 32 seconds, Lu Hao hadn't moved a muscle since Lord Grimm's message. He hadn't even seen the pile of messages Steamed Bun Invasion had sent him. He had been staring at the system announcements the entire time. He had kept on telling himself that there was no way his record could be beaten, yet he had still waited there staring. It finally arrived. A 32-second improvement. Lu Hao had absolutely no idea how that was possible. Flowing Tree? Who was this? Hateful Sword was still in Blue Brook Guild. He immediately opened up the guild roster and then searched for Flowing Tree. Level 27, Blade Master. To be able to beat his record, this player's skill couldn't be low. However, because this Boneyard was a completely new strategy, if it was someone like Soft Mist and Steamed Bun Invasion, then they'd need a lot of practice. But this player had joined tonight and then immediately went to break the record. Was this someone Yi Chu had prepared long ago? Or was it another pro-level player that could quickly grasp the strategy? Looking at the time, this was their second run after 12 o'clock. With their 32-second improvement, even if they had made a few mistakes with Zombie Bailey, it was still enough to take down Excellent Dynasty's record. But they hadn't the first time, which meant the first run was very slow. It was a test run. It was for learning. To be able to completely grasp the strategy in one run. This sort of quality meant he had to be a pro player. A pro player. Blade Master. Then thinking of tonight's match. Huang Shaoshan. Lu Hao almost coughed up blood. Who would believe him? That his Boneyard dungeon had actually been set by Yi Chu and Huang Shaoshan. Could this still be called setting a F***King record? They're holding an all-star event. However, even if he was Huang Shaoshan, it still shouldn't be by 32 seconds, right? Although he was an amazing top-tier player, it was only Boneyard. No matter how amazing, there was still a limit. Any pro player could reach that limit. Could it be that there was some hidden strategy? There shouldn't be one. He didn't see anywhere that could be improved on. Lu Hao's soul left his body. He could only feel anguish swamp his heart. He left the room and wanted to walk around, when he accidentally bumped into Su Mucheng. Hi, Su Mucheng greeted Lu Hao. This was unprecedented. Su Mucheng never gave face to the people who had driven out Yi Chu. She was never polite to them. Thanks for your help, Su Mucheng smiled and then swiftly walked away. Help? What does that mean? What help? How did I help? Lu Hao's face fell deathly pale. He clenched his fists so hard that his bones almost popped out. You, halt, Lu Hao growled fiercely. Chapter 123, Talking to Himself. Oh, is there something you need? Su Muqing turned her head and smiled sweetly, the complete opposite of Lu Hao's cold and fierce expression. The two looked at each other, each with fire in their eyes. Even though she was smiling, Su Muqing's eyes displayed an even colder gaze than Lu Hao's. In their eyes, Su Muqing was always a warm girl and was very kind to everyone. However, she stayed around Yi Chu's left and right most of the time as if she never had her own opinion. This sort of girl seemed very easy to bully. Lu Hao fiendishly roared for Su Muqing to halt. But now that they looked into each other's eyes, he was the one who felt unconfident. If you have nothing to say, then I'll be leaving first. Su Muqing laughed, turned her body around, and left. Lu Hao watched as Su Muqing gradually walked farther and farther away. Gradually, he calmed down. After sucking in a deep breath, he returned back to his room. Taking his cell phone, Lu Hao gave Excellent Dynasty's guild leader Chen Yahui a call. Hello, Lu. The voice on the other side was a bit hesitant as if he didn't know what he should say. You deal with the dungeons yourself for now. It's a bit troublesome for me to come out right now, Lu Hao said. Oh. The 10th server, if no pro player meddles with it, then the records will definitely be ruled by Yi Chu. The standoff between the different guilds have already shifted to this. Right now, it's basically who can win over Yi Chu's help, Lu Hao said. That's not convenient for us, no, Chen Yahui said. You can try contact him and see what his attitude towards us is. If it's no good, then still pay attention to him. See if there are any openings. There is one important thing I need you to find out. What is it? Yi Chu's price. After each collaboration with a guild, tell me what rewards he gets. That's something I hope you find out for me. Do you want me to find players to oppose him? He's lacking manpower right now, Chen Yahui said. This, you can try it, but don't send out players from our guild. Don't let other guilds find out. Right now, Lord Grimm is a very important player to them. Who knows whether he'll join a big guild to protect himself, Lu Hao said. Okay, then I'll figure it out from here, Chen Yahui expressed. Yeah, I'll come visit the 10th server when I have time. Let's keep in contact, Lu Hao said. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Lu Hao sucked in a deep breath. He couldn't move on impulse again. These past few days, he'd been too excited, which was why he made so many mistakes. Destroying Yi Chu's record was a failure and he had even been reverse duped by Yi Chu. Even though it made him extremely angry, in the end, he was the only one to blame and was suffering because of it. The one mistake he truly shouldn't have been made was in tonight's match, where he made several mistakes in a row that caused them to lose. Even though they only won 3 points last match, Sun Shang had at least done a 1v3, which gave fans hope. This time, they were the home team against the visiting second-place team Blue Rain. If they had won a few more points, then it would have a beautiful turnaround for them. In the team competition, Excellent Era really did hold more of an advantage. However, their vice-captain's several amateurish mistakes cost them the competition. Now, even though everyone was unhappy, they still temporarily regarded it as a mistake that he made because of his poor condition. But, if Excellent Era's record continued to stumble and never rise, then when reviewing the season, what could have originally been Excellent Era's comeback was completely ruined all because of Lu Hao's mistake. His mistakes wasn't a mere mistake, it was an extremely heavy mistake. This mistake was enough to affect his future. Right now, if he didn't deal with the situation and still privately distracted himself by tangling with the retired Yi Chu, then everything really would be over for him. Yi Chu, I know you're still unwilling to give up. But things have only just started. Let's see just how capable you are. I'll be watching. Lu Hao gnashed his teeth. He did one final snarl at the mirror and then fiercely rubbed his face. After putting down his hands, a harmless smile appeared on his face. It was as if he had performed some sort of magical shape-shifting spell. Lu Hao pulled open the door and then walked out once again. His gaze shifted to his neighbor's room. A small glimmer of light shone through the crack between the door and the wall. Cough, Lu Hao coughed and then lightly knocked on the door. Son, did you rest? The door's not locked. The reply from the person in the room was extremely cool, but his tone revealed that he clearly wasn't in a good mood. Lu Hao adjusted his expression one final time and smiled. Then I'm coming in. He pushed open the door and entered. In the happy internet cafe, after they ran the dungeon twice, the record was broken, the two girls too. Tang Ru really did go to get some water. But carrying her teacup, she refused to leave from the reception desk and talked with Yishu about this and that. All the way until Yishu saw Cleansing Mist take the initiative to go offline and rest, before exclaiming, "No more dungeoning, right?" Yishu laughed bitterly in helplessness. "Up to you. I remember there's a quest that I hadn't finished yet." Tang Ru mumbled to herself and then left. Yishu was speechless. This girl usually hated to do quests, especially those delivery, mushroom gathering, turnip digging, search ones, etc. etc. The difficulty for these were extremely low. They didn't have combat in them, so Tang Ru regarded them as a waste of time and hated them to the extreme. She had to grind her teeth while doing them because Yishu had reminded her that they were must-do quests, which rewarded attributes or skill points. To make Tang Ru prefer doing her most hated quests rather than such a fun activity like dungeoning, that made Yishu gasp in admiration. Huang Shaoshan deserved to be called the one who changed the alliance's rules. What happened? What happened? Where'd everyone go? Why is no one responding? Actually, Yishu wasn't so tough either. He also took off his headphones and rested for a bit. Right when he put his headphones back on, those crying sounds immediately popped up again. Huang Shaoshan was still scared of having his identity exposed. He nested in the darkness of Area A and lowered his voice when speaking, but even so, he still talked non-stop, his spirit excellent. "Okay, we've set the record. We don't need to keep dungeoning," Yishu said, while bracing himself. "Did you hear what I was saying before?" Huang Shaoshan clearly didn't know that Yishu had taken off his headphones. People like him who loved to talk incidentally also carried a talk to himself attribute. Otherwise, there would often be times where there would be nothing to talk about. Talking to himself meant that he didn't need to hear others' replies, so he was never aware that other people weren't listening. "Oh, it wasn't too clear. What did you say?" Yishu asked. "What's with your weapon?" "Self-made, myriad manifestation umbrella," Yishu said. "You made it? When did you make it? How come I never heard about it?" Huang Shaoshan asked. "It was from a long time ago, when you were still stealing bosses back then," Yishu said. D*MN D Minnesota DMN. "Don't remind me of those terrible times," Huang Shaoshan panicked. At that time, he was still just a normal player. But his ability to take advantage of openings had already been completed. He was an expert at stealing bosses. In the early days of Glory, the rules were very different than now. "It was at that time that me and my friend made it together," Yishu said. "This weapon, it looks like it's specially made for unspecialized characters," Huang Shaoshan said. "Correct," Yishu said. But when the third server opened, the level cap increased. Class awakening quests were introduced and unspecialized characters disappeared. Yishu didn't reply. He didn't need to reply because of Huang Shaoshan's ability to talk to himself. "So your weapon lost its value until the fifth server opened and the heavenly domain was introduced. Unspecialized characters that couldn't awaken could gain experience and continue leveling in the heavenly domain, however at that time the level cap had increased to level 60. Even though the heavenly domain dual challenge has no level limit, it had a level 60 difficulty. And the series of quests had to be done individually, so no one could help you, which was why the trend of unspecialized characters never resurrected. And at that time you were already using one autumn leaf in the pro scene. The title Battle God had already been given to you, so you never turned back to it." Sure enough, Huang Shaoshan voluntarily said a whole bunch of stuff. "Yup," Yishu replied this time. "Right now, you're planning on starting from the bottom up again?" Huang Shaoshan asked. "Yup." "Then why'd you retire? You could have asked for a random account already leveled. You give the weapon to the club to finish, wouldn't that be faster?" "I don't understand. I really don't understand. Why'd you retire?" Huang Shaoshan asked. "Can you not understand? Team performance isn't good. Team captain takes the blame and resigns," Yishu said. "So, There's still no need to retire. If we talk about your matches, I've seen them all. It's clearly the team was at fault and you were isolated by them. Was it Lu Hao's schemes? That guy's like a hungry wolf. Just one look and you can tell he's up to no good. You're way too careless, Huang Shaoxian said. When did you learn how to read people's faces? Yishu said. I didn't say that. That's what Wang Jiexi said, Huang Shaoxian said. How could he judge other people's faces with his uneven face? Yishu said. Stop talking. That guy really does know some magic. Last time, Huang Shaoxian blabbered on. On the side, steamed bun invasion hadn't left yet. He also didn't understand what the two were talking about and was pitifully waiting on the side. Steamed bun, there's nothing else for today. If you want to go to the arena or the dungeon, go ahead, Yishu said. Okay, steamed bun invasion left. Oh right. Let's go for a round. I want to see just how great your weapon is, Huang Shaoxian said. And you're going to use this account, Yishu laughed. What's wrong with this account? It's a level 27 one like yours. The weapon is a bit lacking, but it'll make do, Huang Shaoxian said. This account's an unspecialized account though, Yishu said. Players who didn't understand wouldn't understand what he meant. But when Huang Shaoxian heard this, he was immediately startled. Right, if it was an unspecialized account, even though they were at the same level, he had a big advantage. Why? Because at level 27, no matter what class the account was, it would only have access to 7 subclass-only skills. But unspecialized players, at level 20, they had access to 120 skills. That difference was too great. That was why everyone had put unspecialized characters as kings in the past. They were kings because unspecialized characters were completed extremely early and their advantage in the early game was extremely large, so large that it was almost completely broken. To only use a Blade Master with 7 skills against an unspecialized character, he'd definitely go in and never come out. Huang Shaoxian clearly recognized this point. Take out your troubling rain and let's try it out. We'll obviously be fighting in the fixed field, Yishu said. How is that okay? Huang Shaoxian panicked, that would expose me. If someone saw, how am I supposed to explain it? It's fine, it's fine. We'll battle some other time then. Do you have anything else you need? If there's nothing else, then I'm going back. Oh right, why'd you retire? And why didn't you reply to my last question? Ah. Hurry up and go back. Even Yishu was feeling a bit powerless. He really was too noisy. Chapter 124, The Crudest Style. Over in the corner, Huang Shaoxian closed his computer. He once again scrunched back into a ball, hiding himself. He evilly snuck out from the darkness. Yishu, who was at the reception desk, had been watching him the entire time and had no choice but to watch as the guy carefully prodded over. Why did you retire? Why did you retire? Huang Shaoxian was still asking him. If I didn't retire, you think I'd want to stay in the team to be a training partner? Yishu asked. Training partner? Excellent Era really wanted to drive you out, Huang Shaoxian said, but isn't directly retiring too impulsive? You should have tried looking for somewhere to transfer to. Even if Excellent Era absolutely refused to let you go, that doesn't mean that there was zero chance for you to transfer. There might have been a team that would pay a high enough price for Excellent Era to let you go. At the very least, you should have waited until you saw that there was absolutely nowhere to transfer before retiring. If I transferred, then what about Mucheng? Yishu said. Huang Shaoxian stared blankly. They were both god-level players in the pro scene, how could he not understand this? For popular players like Su Mucheng, some club owners wouldn't let her go even if they had to trade off the rest of the team. She was simply a money tree, a money-sucking machine to the owner. Her financial value was far greater than her skill value. Even for Huang Shaoxian, even he wasn't guaranteed that he wouldn't be transferred to another club. But for Su Mucheng, most owners would even sacrifice their team standings to keep her. If I transferred, then Mucheng would definitely terminate her contract, Yishu said. So it's like this. Then what about terminating your contract? If you terminated your contract like that, then they wouldn't let you join another team for at least half a year, but it'd at least be better than you retiring for a minimum 1 year. But if you did retire, then there'd be no way for you to return to Excellent Era. It'd be the same as you transferring. If you retired for a year, then at the very least you wouldn't need to pay contract termination fees, or maybe you could even buy out the contract, right? After a year. How long does Mu Cheng's contract last until? Huang Xiaoshan talked to himself a bunch. 1.5 years, Yi Shu said. Oh, so then, you're planning on coming back after a year and a half. A year and a half. You're too crazy, aren't you? Huang Xiaoshan expressed his astonishment. Esport pro players had a short career. It was extremely rare for someone 25 years old to be able to play at this level of skill. To still dare to retire for a year and a half, that was simply going against the heavens. Haha, just wait until I come back and destroy you, Yi Shu said. F*CK, you're too arrogant, aren't you? Huang Xiaoshan yelled. What's the current record for our duels again? Yi Shu asked. Ha, tonight's weather is pretty good. Huang Xiaoshan gaze shifted to the pitch-black night outside of the internet cafe. After standing there staring outside for a while, Huang Xiaoshan's gaze returned back. His expression turned serious. You have to come back. Who need you say that? Yi Shu said. If you have any difficulties, contact me, Huang Xiaoshan said earnestly. Give me back my vampiric lightsaber and the fee for 2 hours of internet, Yi Shu said. He finally stopped talking for once. I'll give you the vampiric lightsaber later. Huang Xiaoshan slapped down $10 onto the reception desk. He turned around and faded into the night. Flowing tree went off. Yi Shu returned to the game and received a message from Tang Ru. Yeah. Dungeon? Tang Ru asked. Yi Shu laughed. He immediately gathered everyone and ran to the dungeon. The record 1624, 67 on the record leaderboards, made Blue River speechless for a long time. Still staring at it, he suddenly received a message. He opened it and saw that it was Lord Grimm. How many keyboards did you eat? Blue River's cheeks streamed with tears. The record, which he swore he'd eat his keyboard if it was broken, was currently number 3 on the Boneyard record leaderboards. If he did as he had promised, then he'd have to at least eaten a few keyboards. Brother, please don't joke with me, Blue River said gloomily. Ha ha, there shouldn't be any problem with the record this time, Yi Shu said. Okay. Blue River replied, but didn't say too much. Yi Shu also understood. The record had been broken again and again. The experts in the game, the ones who could be considered as having good judgment, were all at a loss. Blue River still had to pay attention to this. However, the current record really was at the peak. Unless a guild was willing to pay the effort to gather a party with full orange equipment and also look for experts to substitute in. For the new server, the possibility of that was zero. The player who even more shocked by this record was naturally Cold Knight. Originally, he had celebrated when Lord Grimm's record was broken again by Excellent Dynasty. He felt that the Excellent Dynasty experts that substituted in were even more amazing and felt that Lord Grimm wouldn't be able to handle it this time. Who knew that not long after, Lord Grimm set the record back again. Soft Mist, Steamed Bun Invasion, Cleansing Mist, these were all players Cold Knight knew. But what about last time's Hateful Sword? And who was that flowing tree from this time? What the heck was happening in the 10th server? Why were there so many random experts? Was this still the new server? Cold Knight and Blue River were the same. They had lost all confidence in their judgment. They had no idea whether this record could still be broken. They and a bunch of other guilds watched this record all night. None. There was no other system announcement. Was Boneyard finally stable again? But it was only today, that's all. Every big guild watched for it attentively for another day. The record still hadn't moved. Let alone the number 1 record, the number 3 record hadn't even been touched. Because Excellent Dynasty showed the strength of players who were at a level higher than them for the last 2 dungeon records, they received the attention of all the big guilds. Hidden accounts frequently appeared and then mysteriously vanished. But for the previous experts who had played, it was truly too difficult to gather any information of them from just the guild's channel. Even more so, these were excellent Eras players substituting in. Besides the guild leader Chen Yahui, even their own guild members didn't know that. Even though everyone suspected that they had relied on their behind-the-scenes club experts to set it, if the club experts ran over to play in the dungeon, it would just be an occasional run for fun. But why did it look like they were picking a fight with Lord Grimm? As pro players, did it really make sense for them to go that far? From another perspective, if Excellent Dynasty had sent out their top pro players to set it, then who exactly was this Lord Grimm who had stepped all over their record? Lord Grimm, Soft Mist, Steamed Bun Invasion, Cleansing Mist, everyone had already become familiar with these IDs, which had appeared on TV several times. Who knew how many guilds had sent players to investigate these characters? These players were extremely skilled. No one doubted that. If they weren't, how could they have set such a record? What these guilds wanted to know was exactly how skilled were they? After silently noticing these characters, who knew how many eyes were set on them? Under the circumstances where they weren't confident in their judgment, quite a few guilds had already reported to the Heavenly Domain headquarters and had their experts from over there come. Even if they didn't come to level, it was still okay for them to observe these few rising figures. Herb Garden. They were one of the 3 great guilds, yet even so, they never made any sort of official contact with Lord Grimm. At this moment, in the 10th server's guild leader Plantago Seed's field of view were a few players fighting wild monsters. However, Plantago Seed seemed somewhat out of it. To be precise, he looked terrified. Right now, he was sitting there, controlling his character. But behind him stood a genuine god-level figure. Wang Jiaxi, Club Tiny Herb's ace player, last season's champion, Tiny Herb's team captain and last season's MVP. In the current season, his team was the current leader in points, suppressing Blue Rain as the leading team. Wang Jiaxi's account character Vacaria was a witch. Using weird, variable movements and strategies, he was widely known in the pro scene as the Magician. Plantago Seed had reported to his guild on the 10th server's current situation, but who knew he'd alert such a great god and even cause him to personally run over to take a look at these level 27 characters. Plantago Seed felt an enormous pressure on him, making his playing extremely unnatural. Plantago Seed suddenly remembered the adorned notebook that was in his grasp. The notebook was a souvenir he bought after Tiny Herb's championship victory. When Plantago Seed found out that God was coming over personally, he hurriedly brought the notebook with him hoping to get a signature from him. But after seeing God looking at him with his uneven eyes, Plantago Seed had immediately tensed up and forgotten about it. He was currently moving his character to look for Lord Grimm and the others for God to look at, and only now did he remember about the signature he wanted. How do I start? Plantago Seed was currently thinking about this, when he suddenly heard a voice from behind him. You've got a message. Message? Plantago Seed had already become so stupid from nervousness that he had even forgotten what that word meant. After a long while, he recovered and saw that his character had received a message. Opening it, he saw that it was a bunch of random chatter. He hastily closed it and settled his view onto Lord Grimm and the others. Lord Grimm, Steamed Bun Invasion, Soft Mist. Right now, these 3 were at boneyard leveling. Besides them, there were also 7 Fields and Sleeping Moon. Even Plantago Seed didn't see these 2 in his eyes and tried to get them of his view out as much as he could. At low levels, there were only a few skills that could be learned and only a single strategy, so determining a player's skill wasn't easy. For example, for players like Plantago Seed, they had no way of figuring out exactly how skilled Lord Grimm was. But that was different for the god behind him. If even he couldn't figure it out, then Plantago Seed didn't know who else could. It's one Autumn Leaf's combat style, Wang Jiaxi suddenly said, after silently watching for a while. Which one? Both of them, Wang Jiaxi said. In his view, Soft Mist was a battle mage and Lord Grimm was also using his battle lance to use battle mage skills. Lord Grimm's an unspecialized character, Plantago Seed said. After saying this, he regretted it. What nonsense, how could the god Jiaxi not see that? Yeah, Wang Jiaxi still replied. Is there anything special about One Autumn Leaf's combat style? Plantago Seed promptly asked him. There's nothing special about it. It's the crudest style, Wang Jiaxi said. Plantago Seed immediately paid his respects. To dare say that the battle god One Autumn Leaf's combat style was the crudest, exactly how godly was Wang Jiaxi? What about this brawler? Plantago Seed continued asking. This brawler, even Wang Jiaxi was having trouble finding the right words. To say it nicely, he's following his heart's desire. To say it bluntly, he's a complete mess. Chapter 125, God Jiaxi. Their mechanics are pretty good, right? Plantago Seed said. Yeah, Wang Jiaxi agreed. To normal players, these three's mechanical skill really were enough to be considered good, even that completely irrational brawler. But we're only watching them fight against monsters, so there's not much to be seen, Wang Jiaxi said. Then what? Plantago Seed asked. Lend me your account to use for a bit. I'm going to go and say hello to them, Wang Jiaxi said. Plantago Seed hurriedly got up and led up his seat. This carried a tone of pleasant surprise. He was surprised because God Jiaxi would actually personally come out because of these three. And he was pleased because he had the chance to see God Jiaxi's skill in action up close. It has to be known that even in a pro match, it still wouldn't be possible to see him in action up close like this. Wang Jiaxi walked up and sat down. He casually tapped the keyboard and moved the mouse. Plantago Seed knew that pro players all had their own keyboard and mouse they liked to use. If it was just to casually play, it wouldn't matter too much to them, but they'd still feel somewhat awkward with it. Soon after, Wang Jiaxi opened up the keyboard settings. He swept over it and then went, "Oh? It's the same as mine? Are you learning from me?" "Yeah, you're my biggest idol. Could I trouble you with a signature?" Plantago Seed finally found the opportunity and smoothly asked him. His class was the same as the class Wang Jiaxi was most proficient in, the Witch. His keyboard settings were also the exact same as Wang Jiaxi's. Is it hard for you? Wang Jiaxi asked. It's okay, Plantago Seed said. Wang Jiaxi didn't say anything more. He moved the mouse and tapped the keyboard. The in-game Plantago Seed swiftly rushed towards where those 5 players were leveling it. Yi Shu had noticed Plantago Seed peeping at them long ago, but didn't care. Now that he saw him running towards them, he guessed that it was to discuss about dungeon-related things. Who knew that right when he arrived, he'd use a witch's long-ranged attack and suddenly fire a magic missile over. What are you doing? This magic missile's target was Soft Mist. At this moment, Soft Mist's back was facing towards Plantago Seed. Only after being hit by it was she able to react. She quickly turned her camera angle, but couldn't understand what was going on. Tang Ru had never experienced something like peeking in the wilderness. Yi Shu was also extremely astonished. Why did Plantago Seed mysteriously start fighting? How astonishing. Then he saw Plantago Seed say, "Let's compare notes." What's going on? Tang Ru was also puzzled. But Plantago Seed had already sent out another magic missile towards her. Now that they were face to face, how could it be so easy to hit Tang Ru? With a quick tap, Tang Ru dodged the missile. She wasn't so polite either and immediately began counter-attacking. Soft Mist carried her battle lance and swiftly dashed towards Plantago Seed. Plantago Seed didn't move forward and instead retreated. He continued to leisurely throw out magic missiles. But every time a magic missile was sent out, the character still had to stop for a bit. So after a few casts, Soft Mist was still able to close in on him. Her battle lance leapt and a sky strike slashed at him. Plantago Seed flew into the air. Right when Soft Mist was about to continue attacking, she heard a gentle whoosh and Plantago Seed continued to fly over her head. A cloud of medicinal powder sprinkled onto Soft Mist's body. Tang Ru was startled. For a short while, she didn't know what to do. However, Plantago Seed had already landed next to her and then, whoosh whoosh, sent 2 more magic missiles at her. Tang Ru immediately thought of having Soft Mist dodge, but Soft Mist's movements had already turned sluggish. She dodged the first missile, but the second missile exploded like a flower onto her. What? Have you never fought with a witch before? Yi Shu hurriedly asked Tang Ru. She knew that Tang Ru, with her pitiful amount of experience in Glory, still had some experience in the arena when she fought for Chen Guo. However, Glory had a total of 24 classes. Because Tang Ru had only occasionally fought, it wasn't anything surprising that she had never fought against some classes. Yeah, Tang Ru answered. I've seen this class. Steamed Bun Invasion had been soaking in the arena in these past few days. In these short few days, he had already met with all of the classes. They can ride on a broom to fly. Just now, he threw a laxative at you. Did you feel that your body turned soft and your movements turned slow? Laxative. The two revered gods instantly petrified. Who the F***ck came up with such a name? The powder that Plantago Seed had thrown onto Soft Mist was called Disperse Powder, a level 20 witch skill. If it was successfully sprinkled onto the target's body, then it would remove a buff and reduce the target's attack, casting, and movement speed. Even if the opponent didn't have any buffs on them, the slow effect would still arise for up to 10 seconds. It was a CC skill that witches often used. This skill didn't have any nickname or abbreviation, but right now, Steamed Bun Invasion gave it the name laxative and even said that it made your body turn soft and your movements turn slow. It was true that it caused your movements to turn slow, but where did he get your body turn soft from? The two revered gods were shocked, frozen by Steamed Bun Invasion, and even more so were Seven Fields and Sleeping Moon. At this moment, they were all astonished on the name laxative. It really did kind of fit. Who knew when, but Steamed Bun Invasion had quietly snuck up behind Plantago Seed and smashed a brick over. But how could Wang Jiaxi be compared to Tang Ru? Even though he wasn't looking behind him, he had noticed Steamed Bun Invasion's movements long ago. He suddenly crouched and Steamed Bun Invasion's brick hit nothing but air. Plantago Seed took advantage and counter-attacked with a sweep. This was a witch's lowest level knock-up skill. Its knock-up effect was the worst among all 24 classes. With a sweep, the character quickly fell to the ground. The knock-up was very slight and was very difficult to see. But Wang Jiaxi's actions naturally weren't ordinary. In this slight knock-up, Plantago Seed rode his broom and completed a short flight. Following this sweep, he swept Steamed Bun Invasion into the air. After 6 consecutive sweeps, the two characters flew higher and higher with every sweep. Plantago Seed then finished with a heavy attack, smacking Steamed Bun Invasion to the ground, while he leisurely flew back to the ground on his broom. To be able to attack like this was naturally because of the passive skill witches learned after changing classes, Broom Mastery. Brooms are witch-only weapons. Only witches could use it after changing classes. Unspecialized characters could use the majority of weapons, but there were still a few class-specific weapons that unspecialized couldn't use. A Blade Master's lightsaber was one and a witch's broom was another. The passive skill Broom Master gave witches the ability to consecutively attack the opponent while flying. Not all classes had this type of skill. With this type of aerial combat ability, witches were headaches to many classes. Steamed Bun Invasion's actions weren't slow. In the arena, he had accumulated a bit of PK experience, yet he had still been casually beaten down. After the consecutive broom hits and the final smackdown, Steamed Bun Invasion planned on using a quick recover to prevent falling to the ground, but wasn't able to do it in time. His hands smashed to the ground, creating a hole. This wasn't a coincidence. This was all done intentionally by Wang Jiaxi in the air. He had controlled how Steamed Bun Invasion was going to fall, making it much harder for Steamed Bun Invasion to use quick recover. If his judgment or hand speed wasn't enough, then he wouldn't have time to use it. A pro player's ability to calculate and meticulous movements were far greater than normal players. Right when Plantago Seed landed, Soft Mist had rushed forward. With a battle lance, she powerfully swept across like a torrent. But the passive skill Broom Mastery didn't have any cooldown and could be used anytime soon. Plantago Seed immediately leapt onto his broom and then once again flew away. Tang Ru controlled Soft Mist to run left and right, but was unable to catch him no matter what she did. After Steamed Bun Invasion climbed up from the ground, he rushed up to join Soft Mist without hesitation. But in the end, the two players still danced around in his palms. If Seven Fields and Sleeping Moon went to PK, they definitely wouldn't be able to beat Tang Ru or Steamed Bun Invasion. But as spectators, they would certainly be better than those two. At this moment, Meet My Brick, Steamed Bun Invasion hadn't been able to touch his opponent for a long time. He angrily threw his brick. In the end, Plantago Seed rode his broom to meet it and then swept at it in midair. The timing of this attack was perfect and he directly interrupted the flying brick, sending it back towards its owner. Steamed Bun Invasion. F***CK, Steamed Bun Invasion yelled. Right when he was about to duck and dodge it, a sword light flashed by and the brick was smashed into pieces in midair. Yishu finally acted. He launched a sword draw and accurately hit the brick into pieces. Plantago Seed landed and then immediately threw out a magic missile at Lord Grimm and then once again went back on his broom, ready to escape. But unexpectedly, Lord Grimm ignored this magic missile and directly used a collapsing mountain to leap over. This collapsing mountain had much higher priority over this magic missile. Even though he was hit by the magic missile, he would only take damage and wouldn't be interrupted. Right when it looked like collapsing mountain was about to hit, the broom riding Plantago Seed suddenly leaned forward unexpectedly and the collapsing mountain brushed past him. Plantago Seed followed up with a leap and swept out in 180 degrees angle. But Lord Grimm, who had just completed collapsing mountain, seemed to flash. Shadow clone technique. Even though Wang Jiaxi had instantly made the judgment, he knew the situation wasn't looking good. It wasn't as if broom mastery could be used non-stop flying down. Wang Jiaxi, who had just been flying, had already turned and leapt. He was currently in midair and before hitting the ground, he wouldn't be able to ride on his broom and fly away. Without anywhere to run, Wang Jiaxi swiped his keyboard. Plantago Seed once again turned around 180 degrees. Just as expected, with the Shadow Clone Technique, Lord Grimm had flashed over to behind him. He stamped down, using the striker skill, Eagle Stamp. Plantago Seed immediately swept and also damaged Lord Grimm at the same time. Under the situation where there was nowhere to dodge, he could only use the strategy where both sides took damage. But after Lord Grimm's Eagle Stamp, Lord Grimm didn't continue stamping. After the stamp he drew his sword and completed a guard in midair, blocking Plantago Seed's horizontal sweep. Plantago Seed's owner, the real Plantago Seed, was standing behind Wang Jiaxi dumbstruck. To be able to instantly do such an exchange of blows in midair, the one who lost was actually God Jiaxi. Who exactly was this Lord Grimm?